If you go to a WWE event, there is a very high chance that you'll see countless fans performing taunts, hitting poses, and making references to their favourite WWE superstars, past and present. When putting together the presentation of a wrestler, it is important to think about these little details, as they can really add to a wrestler and their connection to an audience. Over the course of WWE history, there have been a whole host of incredible taunts. Some of these are great in themselves and very unique, whereas others have gained popularity due to the talents and success of the one performing them. It is an unwritten and unspoken language between fans when it comes to poses and taunts. Hello and welcome to Honor Wrestling Club, and in today's video we'll be counting down the 10 best taunts and poses in WWE history. However, before we crack on with the list, I'd just like to first take a moment to thank you for choosing to spend a bit of your day with us here at Honor Wrestling Club. It really does mean a lot to us. And I'd like to take a second moment to ask you to click the subscribe button and the notification bell to make sure you never miss out on any of the content we produce here at Honor Wrestling Club. It really does help us out. Thank you. Now, let's crack on with the list with number 10, The Rock. The Rock is someone who has countless catchphrases and poses, all of which the fans have latched onto over the years and repeat back to him and say along with him, except for maybe "How's your lips?" He is a genius at getting things like that over, potentially only bettered by Chris Jericho. When it comes to taunts though, his "Bring It" taunt is fantastic, and it is up there with the best in the business. When faced off from an opponent, whether he be on top or down and out, he stretched out his arms and with his hand he beckons the other wrestler forwards, telling them to just bring it. It is very simple, but it makes The Rock look like a badass for sure. In number 9, we have Randy Orton's iconic corner pose. Randy Orton has struck the same pose for over 2 decades, but it still never gets old. Randy Orton throws his arms up in the air, up at the side, and soaks in everything, whether that be boos, cheers, or more. When the multi-time world champion stands either on the ramp or up in the corner on the ropes, the pose makes him look like a massive star. The simplistic yet elegant nature of it has always added to Orton's overall presentation, and is a lot better than the O he made during his first few appearances. In number 8, we have Booker T and his Spinneroonie. Although Booker T was a product of WCW rather than WWE, he was in the company long enough for much of his presentation to be aligned with the promotion, including his signature pose of the Spinneroonie. Booker T takes in the crowd's love and adoration, and he spins around doing a breakdancing move right in the middle of the ring. Even though others have imitated this, no one does it quite like Booker. It is something very unique though, as it isn't often that a wrestler pulls out something like this mid-match. In at number 7, we have Stone Cold Steve Austin and his iconic middle fingers. Steve Austin is one of, if not the most popular WWE superstar in the history of the company, and probably the most popular wrestler in the history of the business. And with that has to come one of the best taunts or poses of all time. Austin's entire character and gimmick is that of an anti-authority and no-nonsense badass, so flipping off his opponent and doing that during his entrance is something that fits him perfectly. He of course had to adapt it and change it as WWE's product became more family friendly and PG, but the general motion and taunt is still there. He would often do it before hitting his Stone Cold Stunner, finishing move, or engaging in a brawl. In at number 6 we have Daniel Bryan's Yes chant that forever changed wrestling. In WWE, even at indie shows, and sometimes even hijacking entire events with the Yes chant. The taunt is something which fans still use at shows in every company because it was such an impactful thing at the time. In at number 5, we have Hulk Hogan and his ear cupping to the crowd. Hulk Hogan was a master of controlling the audience during his rise to stardom, and he was one of the best at using taunts and striking poses. Flexing his muscles, putting his ear to the audience in an over-the-top manner, and pointing at his opponents when hulking up, all added to his presentation as a Superman. Even to this day, despite Hogan's prime coming decades ago, his taunts and poses are still well known and performed by fans. In number 4, we have Eddie Guerrero's Latino Heat. Eddie Guerrero simply oozed charisma and an aura throughout his career, and especially when he competed as a single star. With a cocky, arrogant, but effortlessly cool nature to him, his classic shake of the shoulders in a nutshell showcased exactly what Latino heat was all about. It exuded confidence, and it didn't take too much effort, and it was very cool too. Many wrestlers to this day pull out this taunt when performing a frog splash or the Three Amigos, some of Guerrero's signature moves. At number 3, we have DX's crotch chop. The D-Generation X faction were a risque group of troublemakers who liked being crude, rude, and defying orders. Their use of the crotch chop was absolutely perfect for them, and their use of it became iconic in the Attitude Era and the wider professional wrestling world. Members such as Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Billy Gunn, and more continued using it even after their time in the group, and it ensures a pop from fans every time, often coupled with the chant of "Suck it!" In at number 2, we have John Cena's "You Can't See Me!" John Cena is one of the most popular WWE superstars of all time, and one of the most polarising. With these accolades comes a very popular taunt. Cena developed the "You Can't See Me" taunt, waving his hand in front of his face. Whilst it doesn't have the most obvious of meanings or logical sense, fans love seeing Cena do it. Cena also uses this taunt when doing his 5-knuckle shuffle move to his opponent, with fans chanting along whilst he does it. And in number 1, we have The Undertaker's thumb across the throat, which often signalled the end for his opponents. One of WWE's best taunts of all time came from The Undertaker, who would slice his thumb over his neck to imply he would only cause pain and suffering to his opponents and make them rest in peace. This of course has implications to something much more sinister, but in the world of WWE it meant that they were about to see chokeslam, a tombstone piledriver, or a last ride. The meaning behind it was for their opponent to rest in peace, and it played into his dead man character in a perfect way. And there you have it, there's our list. So what did you think? What do you think is the greatest taunt or pose in the history of professional wrestling? Be sure to let me know in the comments down below. Get that conversation going. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to click the thumbs up button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell to always stay notified, and become a fully fledged member of the club. And if you've enjoyed this video and think that your friends will enjoy this too, be sure to share it with them. Go on, share the love that we all have for professional wrestling. However, until next time, I'd just like to thank you for watching, and welcome to the club.